So it's been a tumultuous series of events ahead of the ANC's North West Provincial Elective Conference, seemingly set to finally kick off today, a day later than scheduled. Overnight, an interim court order was granted preventing the party's interim provincial committee from voting at the elective conference. So what are the implications of the court order and the delays on a successful outcome with a new leadership? Let's hear the views then of political analyst Rebone Tau. Rebone, good evening to you and welcome. You are at the venue and presumably you probably hear the beginning. Effectively, we were expecting this conference now to finally kick off. What have you been seeing and hearing on the sidelines in the run-up to this tumultuous start?
Good afternoon, Iman, and good afternoon to the viewers at home. I think this is a very interesting conference. There's also other allegations that they have now taken another matter to court, we know outside of the one of the IPC, because you must remember that after the PEC that was led by Supra, when it was dissolved, they also went to court and there was a judgment that the process was not followed by the ANC, but we did not see the ANC taking the directive from the court. And now today, all of a sudden now this has been raised. I've seen a letter that has also been circulating by one of the members of the ANC that has been written to the acting SG, Paul Mashatile. So there is a lot of letters and litigation that might come for this conference. They'd said that the matter was sitting at 4, but I'm still to verify some of this information regarding the second interdiction of this conference.
Yeah, we definitely would love to hear more about that. We also do have our reporting team on the ground, so hopefully between the two of you, we're able to get to the bottom of what could likely be a second court interdict or second attempt at a court interdict against these proceedings. But let's talk about the first ones. What are the likely implications going to be for the IPC being prohibited from voting?
I mean, this is like a number of 20 people, and obviously when you're doing head count in any process of a conference, they would have included themselves, to look at in terms of the numbers, how many numbers they've got when they do the head count. So that means now they have fallen out. This is only going to be a conference of branches where only branches will be being voting, and the IPC will members who are contesting in terms of the different factions, they will have to see how they have to get the other numbers, because it's not over until you go and vote. So there's a lot of lobbying, because yesterday even when I was speaking to one of the candidates from the other faction was saying to me that they are losing delegates building up to this conference every day, because people, and we know this is something that the ANC has admitted, for the longest time, about the use of money in their conferences, and they were worried about that.
Yeah. Well, look, we're a day, call it maybe even a day and a half, later than these proceedings were meant to get underway. These elective conferences have quite a bit of business that they need to do even before the voting sort of gets underway. What are the likely implications of, emerging by the end of tomorrow with a successful outcome and a new leadership installed in a very problematic province for the ANC?
I think the issue here, as now it's an open session, we know that there will be a closed session, but also what will be interesting is the issue of the credentials, because with this court interdicts, when people are getting frustrated, run into the court on the eve of conference, that shows that they might be also want to prolong the adoption of credentials of the conference.
All right, now, given the service delivery problems in the province and this determined battle for power, where do you believe the party's focus actually lies in creating high functionality and rebuilding trust with the citizens there?
I think the biggest problem with the ANC in North West province, I mean, I've never seen a conference of leadership. It's not about the real issues, because now everyone in this province sees themselves to lead. I mean, you have like 7 candidates who are vying for this chairperson position. Yes, while I'm talking also to others on the ground, is that the people that have already reached threshold due to the process of the BGMs is Kinezo and Nono, who have reached threshold. So the other names will be coming from the floor. But it's clear that the focus is not on service delivery. With the focus is more on inward-looking internal factional battles that are continue to deepen in this province. And one thing that I want to say, man, is that you must remember that this was the what we call in the past the Premier League. This was the home province of the Premier League. Just like Free State has not gone to its provincial conference, which was also a home province of the Premier League. So these are the last kick of a dying horse to dismantle completely the Premier League. So that's why we're seeing such frustrations, because the Premier League was aligned to the RT factions in the past, which later then formed itself into the RT from being a Premier League faction.
Interesting developments and a lot to watch over this weekend. Rebone Tau, thank you very much for your analysis live there from Rustenburg, where the ANC's Provincial Elective Conference seemingly is getting underway.